Hi guys, my name is Jone from restoration.bike, and in this video I'm going to explain how to overhaul vintage mountain bike pedals. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up and be sure to subscribe to the channel. I also have a Facebook group for people who are into bike restorations, and you're free to join that group with the help of the link in the description below. So in this case, it's the original vintage Deore XT pedals that came with my Koga Miyata Skyrunner. A lot of older mountain bike pedals cannot be surfaced but are sealed and not meant to ever take apart again. That's not the case with these pedals. So the first step is going to be to disassemble the entire pedal. They offer similar style dust caps you find on cranksets with a tiny opening where you can put a flathead screwdriver into it to pry it off. And before I was able to surface the pedal, I removed the part upon which your foot rests. And a mountain bike pedal behaves very similar to a hub axle, and this means that in this case loose bearings are held into place using cone and lug nuts. And to remove this lug nut, I hold the axle into place using a pedal wrench, and then I use a socket wrench to untighten the lug nut. And on top of the cone nut sits a small washer, which I pry loose using a flat-headed screwdriver. And with the washer removed, you have clear access to the cone nut with help of the socket wrench. This can also be removed. You can now remove the pedal axle and be careful not to lose any of the very tiny bearings. With the magnetic tip of the screwdriver, I'm able to remove the bearings that are stuck in the grease inside the pedal. And the next big step is cleaning all the pedal parts. And I clean the axle and nuts using a small cloth or baby wipes. Be sure to remove all of the old grease. I clean the bearings using my tried and true method of putting them into a jar with a bit of white spirit and swirl it. If you don't put in a ton of white spirit, you can simply empty the jar onto a couple of paper towels. The white spirit will get soaked up by the towels, leaving you with clean and shiny bearings. Reassembling the pedal is basically the reverse of disassembling them. You start by applying fresh grease to both bearing races off the pedal. I don't have a grease gun, so I do it using my pinky finger. You return the ball bearings by pressing them into the grease. Before I return the axle, I only do the side closest to the crank. And with the axle in place, I simply put in the remaining bearings on the other side. Because the bearings are so small, I use the screwdriver again to get them into the correct position. The reason I do this is that otherwise you press the bearings out again, which just makes a mess of things. And don't forget to grease the bearing race first, or else there will be hardly any space left. As I've said before, the vintage mountain bike pedal works the same as a hub axle. So tightening a cone means striking a balance between removing play and a smoothly rotating pedal. This takes a bit of tinkering back and forth, especially since tightening the lock nut usually means the cone might make the bearings bind into the race again. So if you're happy with the result, you can return the dust cup and reinstall the vintage mountain bike pedals on your bike. I hope you enjoyed watching the video, and don't forget to consider joining the Facebook group. If you have any questions, you can ask them there, and I hope I can welcome you again for the next video. Bye for now.